Welcome to another episode of DD on the Spot. As always, I'm your host, Ryan Johnson. And before we get into it with our guest here today, I'd like to remind everyone that if you enjoy this content, please go like and subscribe down below. I'd greatly appreciate it. We have Angelina on the podcast. She's coming to us all the way from Canada, and she is a CPA bikini competitor. And she's on here to share her personal fitness journey, discuss all things personal fitness-wise, and just the fitness industry in general. I mean, if I'm going to be completely honest, everyone, I think this is actually going to be a good podcast. I normally try to pretend like it's not going to be, but just, I'm getting a good vibe here, so don't screw this up. That's all I'm going to say. But no, first of all, to get things started, why don't you just give us your backstory on what inspired and motivated you to get in shape and how that led to where you're currently at right now?
Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. And then to answer your question, I never was into fitness before in my life, like ever. Um, I did play soccer like a little bit growing up. I was never any good at it. And then going into university, I always wanted to get into fitness, but never really had the time. I went to university for nursing, so it was quite a strenuous program. I spent a lot of my time uh, doing assignments and stuff like that, studying, and I went to the gym sometimes, a couple of times, but didn't really know anything about it, didn't know where to start. So it was really intimidating for me. And then last year, I graduated nursing school and then I had all this time in my hands. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I started lifting. Like I said before, I didn't really know what to do, how to get started. So I had my brother help me out. He plays football for his university, and we went to the same university. We went to McMaster in Hamilton. Um, but he like had this whole garage gym set up in my house, so he kind of helped me get started with like a workout program. So I started lifting and I really loved it. I was good at it. I was making pretty good progress, and then after a few months I got in contact with my friend from high school who started coaching. And I was like, "Hey, yeah, you want to like make a plan for me?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." I honestly had no idea what to expect, but he made me a whole meal plan and workout plan, and I started lifting, and I just went right into a bulk. And it was like a lean bulk. It was nothing like crazy. But I put on like 20 pounds. I started at like 120, and then at my peak I was at 140, and I put on a good amount of muscle, especially like newbie gains. But it was really motivating.
At what point in your journey did you realize that, like, hey, I want to do a show now? Because a lot of people take years upon years to do it. And then I know some people that, like, within like a couple months of starting this, are like, yeah, let's get me on stage.
Yeah. So I was lifting, I want to say, for like 5 months before I started my prep. So that's like not a lot of time. Like, and it was crazy. Like, I'd be at the gym and like during my prep, and people would come up to me and be like, "Are you like competing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I am. I'm prepping for my first show ever. I picked up a dumbbell for the first time last year. Like, this is crazy. I would never have seen myself in this situation." But I would say it was my coach who like kind of brought it up as like kind of like a joke, like, "Hey, yeah, you," not even like a joke, but just kind of like, "Hey, you should try it." And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" And that's how I got introduced to the idea of it. And even when I first started my prep, I was still like, it wasn't real to me. It wasn't real to me until I was like, I want to say like 16 weeks out, and I started seeing like the shape all come together. And I was like, whoa, I've never seen myself look like this. This is nuts. And then I started taking it pretty seriously from there on out.
What was that like to see yourself, take that shape? Because for so many people, I mean, it's an eye opener to just realize that the body can look like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it was crazy. The craziest thing for me, um, or the biggest thing that makes a difference to me is the food. And I didn't realize how big of a role food and nutrition plays in your physique. Like, so many people are like, "Oh, like I go to the gym every day, I'm lifting weights, I'm doing my cardio, and like I'm not seeing any change." I'm like, "Well, you're still going to McDonald's. Like, you're still eating crap foods and like not eating enough protein, and like it's obvious that that's why you're not getting the results that you're getting. But when you don't have that knowledge and you don't have that education on, and especially when you don't have that the experience of like actually witnessing how your body changes, it's easier to think like, oh my gosh, like it's my genetics or something like that. Like, no, it's crazy what food does for you. And that was like the biggest thing for me, I think. Like when I was in my bulk, I saw so much muscle gain, because before that, I said when I first started lifting weights, I wasn't on a meal plan. Like I was still eating like shawarmas, and I wasn't eating necessarily bad food. I was eating, you know, what my mom was making and whatever. University, it was like horrible because I was living on my own. I didn't know how to cook, nothing like that. So I was not eating good. But you know, when I moved back home, I started lifting weights, not on a meal plan. Yeah, I was making gains, but it was like the tiniest minuscule changes. And then when I had that first transformation picture of like 5 months of lifting, I was like, whoa, like I didn't even know this was possible. Um, so yeah, and it was a big motivation for me to even see that transformation, to keep going and be like, okay, what else can I accomplish? Like now I'm cutting. So like what is it going to look like in another 5 months? So that was probably the biggest for me. Yeah.
What was your friends and family's reaction like when you announced them, like, hey, I want to give competing a try?
Okay, so my friends were like, okay, weird, like you were never into this before, but whatever, and they were supportive. My mom was like, kind of like, at first was like, oh, you're not eating my food anymore, like okay, like you're eating your own food, you're buying your own food, you're making your food. And I feel like that was like the hardest thing for her to get over, but then she eventually got over it. And I feel like everyone in my family eventually started eating super similar to the way that I was eating. Like they were meal prepping their ground beef and their chicken and their rice, and like just putting it on a plate and whatever. They weren't measuring it like how I was measuring it, but it was super helpful. And like my dad was like, I don't know how I feel about you going on stage and like heels and a sparkly bikini and, you know, showing your body like that. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about it either. Like we're just like, you know, doing this as a test run, like just to see how it's gonna be. But he even got super into the sport, and like we started watching like we watched the Arnold together last year, me and my parents. Um so they both got super into it. My siblings, they were super supportive about it. My sister started like eating on her own meal plan after that. My brother, like I said, he plays football, so he was like super supportive that I was finally like taking charge of my health, my fitness, my nutrition, all that stuff. So he was supportive. And then my boyfriend, it was like really hard. Like he was like, I don't really want you to like be going on same thing as my dad. Like he's like, I don't know how I feel about that. But he was supportive nonetheless. It was a little bit harder for him to like get on board with it because prep is hard. When I'm on a meal plan, I can't be going out for dinners. You know, I can't be out super late. It's hard because I can't do everything what I used to be doing. And then eventually when you get so close to a show, you have like no energy. So even when we would hang out, I'd be like tired, like, oh, I don't want to go out. I don't feel like doing this. So that was a little bit hard for him to kind of like witness. Um, but you know what? In between show, because like I said, I competed twice. So after that first show, I feel like prep between those 7 weeks from my first show to my second show, I was like already like I was like a pro at prepping. I was like, this is so easy. Like I'm so used to it now. And I kind of learned from experience all like the negative aspects of prep and how to deal with them from before my first competition. So I got better at it. And then as I was getting better at it, my boyfriend was like, okay, like this is better now. I'm kind of like being a little bit extra from like a couple negative experiences we had at the beginning of prep. So he ended up being way more supportive. And like right now, he's like, yeah, like let's keep going. Like we went to Croatia together, and he's like, when we get back from Croatia, like we're gonna go to the gym together, and like I want to start eating healthy too. So it's crazy how much of an impact my prep journey has had on my friends and family. and their own health journeys. I
Is
think
that
it's
is that where your family's from? Croatia?
Croatia. Yeah, we're all Croatian.
I was gonna
Am I?
say with that last name, I was gonna say it's some Balkan country, it's Croatia or something like that. Yeah, but no,
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah.
I'm not even gonna try to pronounce it, everyone, because I don't want to insult her family or anything like that. But no, and when you were also thinking about stepping on stage in a bikini in front of dozens to hundreds of people, was that hard for you, or did it get to a certain point where some people were just like, I was in such good shape that I didn't really care?
Yeah, for me, like I said, I'm Croatian, so I've been performing my whole life. Like I've stayed being on stage, I've never had stage fright, nothing like that, because I did Croatian dancing growing up. So I started in like grade 1. So I've been doing it for a long
Hey, and
time.
as you're talking about Croatian dancing, I'm gonna look it up on my phone right now just so I can get an idea of what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Do it.
Yeah.
Like folklore dancing.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So I did Croatian folklore dancing. I played a Croatian instrument called the tambura.
Oh, so
And then
it's like this.
exactly, yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple of videos of me on up on YouTube doing my Croatian dancing. I'll have to send you those links later. Um, but yeah, so I did Croatian folklore dancing. I played the tambura and I sang, did like Croatian folklore singing, I guess. And I had like some solos here and there. So like stage fright has never been an issue of mine. If anything, that really taught me a lot of stage presence. And I think that that helped a lot when it came to posing. Like I was able to learn my posing routine pretty quickly. I have an amazing posing coach too, and she taught me a lot. So I had no issues when it came to actually stepping on stage. Like I was a little bit nervous, like what to expect, but I was like watching so many shows on YouTube and listening to podcasts and like whatever I could do to prepare for it. That when it actually came time to stepping on stage, I didn't really have any issues with it. I was like, okay, yeah, let's go do it.
Were there any muscle groups that Croatian dancing helped you out with that gave you sort of a head start in bodybuilding?
I think my legs.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Like not really arms, because for arms we would just like hold hands. It's no like arm movements really in Croatian dancing, but like a lot of footwork. So I would say probably legs. My quads, I would say.
Yeah, well, I was just even looking at that photo. I was like, yeah, quads probably. But is there
Yeah.
what's one area of your physique that you've always just had to drag behind regardless?
That I've always what?
Had to like drag behind that, like it's always been in like one body part that you've always struggled with to grow.
Oh, struggled with to grow. Um, I don't know. Like honestly, I don't think I can even answer that question because my genetics are pretty good. Like
We're
like
talking to one of these people again. Jesus.
I know. I hate to like I don't want to sound cocky, but um I never really like my shoulders grew really well. And it was the thing is, I just started lifting weights last year. So I don't know. Like cuz I started lifting, I didn't really know anything about it. Like I called a bench press arm day.
Oh
Like it was
God.
not chest, it was arms. So I didn't know anything. And then when I did my bulk, it was like not really focused towards anything. I was just kind of like lifting and eating more food. And now I'm gonna go into like another kind of lean bulk and actually thinking, okay, I need to grow my shoulders, I need to grow my glutes, blah blah blah. But I can tell you one thing: during prep, I think that one of the body parts that was dragging behind was the glute ham tie-ins. Yeah, that's something I really need to work on. Yeah.
So you're telling me there were some scenarios where you would tell people, "Hey, do you want to go and do an arm day?" And then you would just you would just start doing the bench press, and they're like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. No, actually, it didn't work out like that. Actually, when I realized that, it was because my brother was like, "Oh, let me see your plan." And then I was like, yeah, so this is my arm day. And he was like, you have bench press on arm day? And it's funny, like I don't even do bench press anymore. Like this is when I first started. Like now I don't even it's not even on my plan now, but it was just funny.
Your family should have played along with it and let you become like a personal trainer, and then just had you like write meal plans for clients and be like, "Why you have me do bench press on arm day? Like, what's no?" But that's no. Again, that's I had similar things when I was younger. Like I said, I got into it like around like middle school, high school age, where I would Believe me, I have so many ones that make you look like a genius. Basically, that I don't want to embarrass myself too much on the podcast, so I won't name too much. But no, I had times where I was doing machines wrong, and then everyone's like, "What are you doing?" Like, but
Yeah, yeah.
everyone
Well,
goes through those learning pains. Yeah.
it is intimidating getting started at the gym. It is super intimidating. There's so many machines.
I'm just gonna tell you this though. Try being an eighth grader and your brother is the varsity starting quarterback, and you go to his high school gym. Think about how intimidating that is.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's for sure, especially when you have like family members that are like killing it. It's like, but you know what? But they're gonna help you. You know what I mean? And like that's what I keep telling my family. I'm
No,
like,
my brother's gonna prank me a couple times, to be honest.
yeah, but that's brothers.
Oh,
That's brothers. That's brothers.
no, but yeah, it's just, and especially for women too. It's so intimidating too, especially when you see like these huge guys in the gym. Did that take you, or was that anything that you struggled with, or was it? And how long did it
Yes.
take for you to sort of get over that?
Oh, so like I said, when I started lifting, it was in my garage. So I have like a squat rack, a Smith machine, like a rack of dumbbells, cables. Like I have a good amount of, and I have a spin bike. So I have all that stuff in my garage. And I was when I started lifting, it was like June. So it was summertime, but in Canada it snows. So I want to say in like end of November, I was like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. Like work in this freezing cold garage. Like the bar is literally an icicle. Like I can't do squats. I don't want to put it on my like back, and I can't, squat with a sweater on because I'm always afraid it's going to slip off me. So I'm like, you know what? The time has come. I'm getting a gym membership. So I got a gym membership, and I want to say for like the first month, I was so scared to go into the weights section. So I'd be like up. So the female change room is upstairs in my home gym, and the men's change room is downstairs with all the weights, and then the female change room is upstairs with the cardio machines, cardio equipment, in the fitness studio. So I would literally be upstairs on the treadmill for like 10, 15 minutes, building up the courage to go downstairs and lift weights. And then after that 1 month, when I like started seeing real progress and started like putting my check-in photos side by side and being like, whoa, this is a big change. That is when I was like, yeah, I can go down to the weight section. I don't need to go on the treadmill today. And then I started going down. I was shoulder pressing like 35 pounds, and I was like 35-pound dumbbells. And I was like, yeah, I'm killing it. Whatever. I'm strong. And then it took me probably a month to start going down without any like stress.
Have you ever had that moment though, where like even I've had it, where I'm 6'3", 210 pounds, where like I'll be sitting and doing a workout next to some like guy who's like 6'7", like 300 pounds, and you're just like, it really humbles you. Did you ever have that moment where like you said, you're doing your 35s, but then there might be a guy right next to you that's doing like 70s, and you're like, oh my god.
Honestly, no.
Okay.
Because I know that just generally guys can lift more. Yeah. Guys are stronger than girls.
Fine. Let me play devil's advocate. If there's a woman then that you just see just killing it, you're just
I
like,
never
oh
experienced that though.
Okay.
I never experienced that because, or maybe, I go to Good Life. So it's like a big box gym, and I feel like so many people that go there is just like they just go there for general health. It's not like a bodybuilding gym per se. But then my posing sessions, I would go to a Pure Muscle, and it's like a bodybuilding gym. And so I would go there for my posing session, and then I would lift at that gym after because I'm already like in the gym and whatever. So when I lift there, there's a lot of really strong women, and for me, it's never like oh, I'll never get to that point, but more of like a wow, look at her. Like one day that will be me. One day that will be. It's more of a motivation because I recognize that I'm new to the sport. I'm new to the fitness industry. I'm new to lifting, and there's always room for growth. I don't like to compare myself and be like, oh, I like to compare myself and be like, wow, I'm gonna be there one day.
Which I appreciate that you have that viewpoint, because so many people I think need to have that, where especially like, yeah, it's your first year. I mean, it's, I know so many people that they start and then they think that they should automatically be like at the very top, and it's like, no, this is a sport where the people that are at the very top have been doing this for decades or like years upon years, where it takes some time, it takes some growth. But what has this journey been like for you mentally? Because out of all the physical changes that people might say and be like, oh my god, you look incredible, that mental change that's happened though is more important than, in my opinion, than anything. So what has this journey been like for you mentally so far?
Mentally, I feel like I've completely just like grown into like who I am as a person. I've always like I've always been type A, like I said. Like when it came to me in nursing school, I'd like, always be writing down on my calendar and planning my days and what am I gonna do here and there and whatever. But then so with prep, that's I was doing the same thing. But then you also kind of have that mental battle of like, well, what if I'm not good enough? And obviously you can't expect to be at the top, but obviously you're hoping to do well. Like you're putting so much effort for months and months, you're hoping to do well. And I had my first competition, it was a regional show, and I got first in novice and true novice, and then I got second in open. And I was like, I was like, oh, I can't believe I got second in open. Like I got first in novice and true novice. And then I was like, okay, like chill. You just got first in novice and true novice. This is your first competition. This is your first time ever stepping on stage. And I got second in open, and I was like, second is still really good. But at first I was like, oh, because I got first. Like I got first, I got called up for true novice, I got first. Then I got called up for novice, I got first. Yeah. And then I got called up for open and I got second. And then I was just like, I thought I was gonna like, do like a hat trick and get all three first medals. But like, no, that's not how it works. And I had to kind of like give myself a reality check and be like, that's not how it's not just gonna get given to you that easily. And then as I continued my prep, I was like, should I even keep prepping? Because I got second, I qualified to do nationals. So I was like, should I even do it? Like I got second, I'm not even that good. Like what if I place like fifth? And like I was so upset. And then I was like, okay, you know, I'm not just gonna get like first place medals handed to me on a silver platter. You need to work for it. And if anything, I really took that in mentally and was like, this is gonna make me work harder. If anything, like I'm happy that I didn't get first, because if I had gotten first, I would have been lazy all the way until nationals. But I was working so much harder. I listened to the judges' feedback, which was just to come in a little bit leaner, and I absolutely crushed that goal, that feedback. I came in leaner and I got third at nationals in my class. So that was like a huge mental battle for me. And then also, I don't know, mental battle with like not being lazy, not like cutting corners. When I was prepping for my first show, I was working in the hospital. So my schedule was like I would work 4 shifts, 2 day shifts, 2 night shifts, 12 hours, and then I'd have 5 days off. And then in those 5 days, going to the gym, eating my food, getting enough sleep was absolutely fine and dandy. But when I was working, it was a mission. Like I was not sleeping enough in between shifts. I would have to wake up at like 4 in the morning to go to the gym and do my cardio and do my lift. Getting my meals in was really hard. And then a bunch of other things that like I didn't really even focus on. Like my coach would say, get this much water in per day, get this many steps in per day. But I never actually paid attention to it because I was so stressed out about work and stuff. Like I just let other things kind of infiltrate my brain and I wasn't focused on the right things. And then after my first competition, I switched jobs. So I no longer work in the hospital. I work at a clinic and I do Botox and fillers. And it was sad for me to leave the hospital because I really liked working in the hospital. But I couldn't do it for the hours. So now I work like 5 days a week, like 8-hour shifts, normal times. And now I'm focusing on my water intake, my steps per day. I actually am able to get like train with more intensity when it comes to lifts. I'm able to do my cardio with more intensity, and just be mindful overall. And then also thinking about like not just thinking of yourself as Angelina the bodybuilder, but I'm also a sister, a girlfriend, a friend, a daughter, like being there for my family, for my friends, and other aspects of my life. So not just saying, okay, bodybuilding, 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 bodybuilding. It's really easy to fall into that during prep because that's all you're thinking about. Your whole lifestyle surrounds, I'm prepping for a show. So how do you like separate yourself from that, but also not limit yourself? Like, I want to separate myself from prep and still be able to have a normal life, but also I can't have a normal life without impacting my prep, So it's hard, but like the longer you do it, I feel like I got better at it, and I feel like I'm only going to get better moving forward because everything's a learning experience.
Oh, it's an absolute mental minefield that you really
Yeah.
gotta get over, and it takes people so many tries to get it right because it's bodybuilding. It's always ever evolving. And what is your experience like with posing though? Because that's one of the things that a lot of people talk about how it's one of the harder things that they do in this sport. What has been your experience like so far with posing?
I feel like posing like is not stressed enough. Like people need to learn there's people on stage, and I don't know, maybe they did hours and hours of posing, but it's just like you need to be practicing that every day. Like when I first started posing, yeah, okay, I could hit my poses fine, but like even looking back at my old check-in photos, like from when I first learned how to do a back pose, for example, like I do a back pose way differently now than I did at first, but I had the same posing coach. She taught me how to do it the same way. It's just I wasn't confident in holding that pose when I first learned it. Now I am. So the more you practice it, you will look more confident in your poses. And then the other thing that I really struggled with posing, and I didn't realize I was struggling with it at the time, but was tempo, like transitioning. Like I just looked so robotic, and I feel like a lot of people look robotic on stage. And the first thing that comes to my mind was like, I don't think you're practicing enough. And I get that because I didn't practice enough either at first. And then how I said that I was focusing on many more things like my water intake, my step count, my sleep, like all that stuff. I started focusing on that even more between my regional show and my national show. Posing was another thing that I started really, really practicing more. So before my regional competition, I practiced probably like 3 times a week, not even like maybe once a week. Like it was so like I was barely practicing it. And then after my regional show, I was practicing posing like every day. Maybe there would be a couple days where I wouldn't practice it as much, but at the minimum, I would practice in the gym, like in between sets. And maybe I'm not wearing my heels, but I would at least practice holding my poses and just holding and holding and holding. And I would get those looks like, who does this girl think she is? Like why is she like hitting poses in the middle of the gym? But it's good. Like you need to practice because at my regional show, they made me stay in my front pose for like 15 minutes. Like I was watching the clock behind the judges' heads, like the minutes tick by, and I'm like in my front pose, like, okay, how much longer? Like I can't do this for much longer. And my legs are like quivering. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be prepared. I do not want like I didn't fail in it by any means. I held my pose perfectly fine, but I was like, I need to practice this because I don't want to be in the same situation again.
No, yeah, and it's definitely something that's just like with muscles where the muscle memory sort of takes over after you
Mhm.
do it for so long. And most people don't understand too, you're going to be more sore from a posing session a lot of times than you are from an actual workout too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, honestly, I find that for bikini, the posing isn't as like strenuous as it is for like, yeah, like bodybuilding or physique or whatever. Because you're not holding your poses super flexed or anything, so it's not that sore. But my lower back, gets so sore because you really have to like pop that booty out.
Mhm. No, yeah. And how have you been dealing also with the post show rebound that sort of happens where, I mean, especially this being your first go around, your first season, what's that been like just sort of seeing your body go back to normal after seeing it at the extreme?
Oh my gosh, like it has been crazy. So my competition was 5 weeks ago now. Um like I was listening to so many podcasts and like reading about reverse dieting and how important it is and blah blah blah. And I was like okay, I'm gonna like kill this. But I booked a trip to Croatia like a week after my show. So I had 1 week. So I finished my show and then I had a week and then I went to Croatia for 3 weeks. And I'm like, what the hell am I going to do in Croatia? Like, I can't bring a scale with me everywhere I go. But I did. I bought one of those like portable scales that you can like fold up. And I was like, I'm going to use this and I'm going to get 15K steps a day in Crow. And like, I'll be able to get lifts in here and there. I'm going to do a body weight circuit. I didn't do that. I didn't do that at all. So the first week post show, I was like pretty much on plan, but I was, allowing myself to have a little bit of like nibbles here and there. And then I went to Mandarin. I don't know if you know what Mandarin is. Do you know what Mandarin is? Do they have that in the States?
No.
It's like an all you can eat
Chinese place?
Chinese food restaurant.
Oh, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
And I went pretty crazy there. And then I got on a plane, went to Croatia, and I was like, I'm going to eat intuitively for 3 weeks. I was not eating intuitively. I was just eating whatever the heck I wanted. It wasn't that bad. I wasn't like going crazy by any means. I was eating 3 meals a day instead of 5, so 3 bigger meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I had sweets a couple of times. Like I had an ice cream here and there. I had a crepe once. It was not like I was like eating a bunch of like junk food or sweets and stuff. But I think it was the alcohol because I didn't have alcohol at all this year. And then I get to Croatia, I'm seeing all my family that I haven't seen in years. And they're just like, here, have a glass of wine, have a glass of wine. And then we were at the beach bars and we were just like having like a pina colada and a mojito and whatever, all this stuff. And I gained weight pretty fast, but I didn't have a scale to measure myself. So I didn't know how much weight I was actually gaining. And then I saw myself in the mirror and I was like, hold on a second. Like my face is like so chubby. I'm so bloated. I feel like I look horrible. I was so upset. And it was just me and my boyfriend. And he was like, oh, this is like body dysmorphia. Like, don't worry. Like, this is healthy weight gain. And I'm like,
he should have been on the team. Like, God, you look disgusting. God, no, you have really let yourself go. Good God.
So much worse. No, he handled it like
just for the trolling. Just for the trolling, everyone. That's the only reason I recommend
it. He was really great. He was like, no, like this is just body dysmorphia. Like you look great. But deep down, I was like, this isn't body dysmorphia. I don't look great. I have to take accountability. This is from I'm eating foods that my body's not used to. Like I'm eating a lot more starchy foods and I'm drinking alcohol and I haven't been drinking alcohol for years. I feel swollen. I feel inflamed. I know it's a lot of water retention and sodium retention. I know it's not all fat that I'm gaining right now. Anyways, I come back to Canada. I'm 20 pounds above stage weight. So that was in 4 weeks, 20 pounds above stage weight. And I was like, not feeling happy at all. But I was like, you know what? Okay, number one, the little bit of fat that I did gain, which inevitably I did gain some fat, was fat that I needed to gain back. So I'm completely fine with that. The sodium retention, water retention, inflammation will go down once I'm back on plan. So I've been back from Croatia for a week now. I've been on plan for a week now and I've already lost 5 pounds. And it's kind of like, oh my God, you lost 5 pounds in 1 week? Like, that's so bad for you. That's so unhealthy. And it's like, no, like, I'm not starving myself, though. I'm eating on a diet. A diet that's 500 calories higher than what I was eating during my prep. I don't feel like I'm starving myself. I'm not starving. I'm just back on plan, eating foods that my body's used to digesting. I'm doing my cardio. I'm doing my lifts that I wasn't doing in Croatia. And I wasn't even getting 10K steps a day in Croatia. I thought I was going to be walking everywhere. Like, no, we were visiting family. And when we visit family, we're not going on walks with family. We're sitting down, eating food, and not doing any physical activity. So, obviously I'm going to gain weight. So now I'm like, look at my face is like back to normal. It's not prep face. It's not like chipmunk face either. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized because I'm actually eating nutrient dense dense foods. So I'm happy to be back, and I'm happy to be back on plan with my routine. And I'm excited to, stay maintenance for a couple of months, just to like find what my new maintenance is, because obviously when you're on a caloric deficit for so long, your metabolism is going to down regulate, and now we got to up regulate it back to maintenance. Then we'll go up even more for a little lean bulk, put on some muscle gains, and yeah, that's the plan.
How much better is the wine in Croatia than it is here?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a big wine drinker. But it's better in Croatia. Yeah.
Well, I've heard about that. Like anyone that goes to any country in Europe, they're like, yeah, they do it a lot better with that type of stuff over there. So yeah,
it's the climate for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what are your plans for this next year? Do you have any plans set in advance, or are you currently just seeing where things go now, or where would you like to be at next year?
Yeah, so me and my coach talked about it. We're gonna take things pretty much week by week, but we have like outlined a rough plan. So I think, like I said, I'm gonna maintain for the next couple months, do a bulk, and then for next summer I want to do a mini cut, like lean out again. I'm not gonna get stage lean, but just get lean enough so I can see what I'm working with in terms of muscle gains. And then we'll see from there. Maybe if I really am dying to do a competition, I can next year. But I'm also not in any particular rush to go competing again, because I want to I'm in this to be competitive. Like I don't want to just do this because I like to compete. Yeah, okay, I like to compete, but I want to do well. And not to say that I didn't do well, but like I want to do better than I did this year. And the physiques that you're up against, like everyone else is going to be improving, so I should be improving too. So, like I said, not in any particular rush. Next year, we'll see what I'm working with after I lean out, and then I'm probably going to go into another lean bulk, and then probably for 2026, prep for another competition. And I'll have to do a regional show first, because it'll be 2 years from my national, so I won't be qualifying.
If there was one thing that you could change about this lifestyle and everyone would go along with it, what would be one thing that you'd like to see changed?
Everyone, I don't know. One thing I could change about this lifestyle. Honestly, I don't know how to answer that question. What would I want changed? Like, I guess cardio. I hate doing cardio.
Thank you.
but like you need it, like you need it to be lean on
this
stage.
Is not what you need. This is what you would change if you could do it. So like if you could say like I wouldn't have to do any cardio and I could still get the effects of like not of doing cardio.
Oh yeah, if I could get the effects of not doing any cardio, yeah, I would love it. But at the end of the day, it's like if I really didn't want to do cardio, I don't really have to do cardio, but then my food would be like way less than what it is. So
I just wish you could be like one of those people with like restless legs when they sleep, where like, but you get like the step effect while you're sleeping. Then
yeah,
so like your legs are moving, so like you can get like 30,000 steps in every time you're asleep. Then, but like you're asleep, so
that's crazy. Oh my gosh, yeah, I don't even know how that would work.
Oh, it's not. It definitely is not how it works. But like if it could work like that, that would be perfect.
Yeah, that would be cool. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and just what advice you have for people that are just looking to get started in bodybuilding? What would be the best piece of advice that you would offer? Just any, and again, it doesn't have to be like specific or anything like that, because everyone's body's built differently. Everyone has different goals, but like just for someone who's looking to get their feet wet in the sport, what advice do you have?
Get educated. Like listen to podcasts. There's so many good podcasts that I didn't even know that existed at first. I had no idea what to expect when it came to bodybuilding. I had someone message me on Instagram, and I have a friend who's like now looking to compete. And I'm just like, listen to podcasts, man. There's so much information there. It'll prepare you for what to expect. Like, and don't listen to something and be like, oh, that's never going to happen to me. Like anything could happen to you. So like there's so many podcasts that's like, don't gain 20 pounds directly after your show. And I'm like, that's never going to happen to me. I'm just going to go to Croatia and eat intuitively and then come back 5 pounds above stage weight. Like, no, it doesn't work like that. Absolutely anything is possible. So, get educated so that you're prepared for what may or may not happen to you. And it will help you a lot. It will go a long way.
And before we wrap things up, what's your favorite Croatian like national dish that like I wouldn't know about because I don't really know that much about traditional Croatian food?
I would say like stuffed peppers. Yeah, they make really good stuffed peppers. I love them. I love them. Also cevape. They're like I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. Like little meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up. It sounds interesting. Yeah, I'm
They sell
always
they sell cevape in Canada. I'm sure they sell it
yeah.
in the States too.
No, yeah, I'll definitely have to look that up. I'm always interested in trying out, other people's cuisines and stuff. Now, again, I'm a little too Scandinavian. I'm mainly Norwegian. I'm too Scandinavian for like Indian food because that's just too spicy. Where like that is going to cause me to like have almost a heart attack. So like that is something there. So maybe not a little bit of the spicy food, just because our bodies were not really built for that. But yeah,
Yeah.
anything else is fine. Anything else is
Yeah,
fine.
no, they're not spicy. You should try them.
Yeah, no, I definitely will. And again, everyone, I recommend everyone go and check out Angelina on Instagram. I'll leave a link to her profile down below. Buyer beware. You will get inspired to get off that couch and stop eating all those Twinkies. But again, Angelina, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your journey with us. It was an absolute delight to talk to you.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun chatting. So thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everyone, this is Ryan Johnson, DD on the spot, signing off. Have a great day, everyone.